Next to family, it's the most important thing in my life.
My fear is when I die, my husband will sell my trees for what I told him I spent.
Bonsai is a really a very sharing type of an art form.
Then once you're into it, then you're just eager to spend your money on this stuff.
What brings people together is bonsai. It's about the tree.
You go to a bonsai meeting and you immediately have friends, and of course, if you're looking for an opinion on your plant, if you ask 3 people, you will have about 20 different opinions.
When you bathe your child, it's a joyful occasion. So when I water the tree, that's what I think of.
You know, you go home, and sure, our trees are of lesser quality, but you put it on the work stand and you just get into it, and it doesn't matter. You love each tree that you work on. You put your heart and soul into it, and you start thinking about the possibilities. And I think that's what's so exciting about bonsai is even if you have, you know, a small yucky tree, you're thinking in terms of the future. You're always thinking in terms of the future of this tree. Even these wonderful trees here, they will need to be dealt with in terms of the future for them. And that's such a unique aspect of our hobby. It's an absolutely wonderful, and I think probably extremely unique community that we have here in bonsai. And if you join a club, if you start going even to the regional shows or the national shows, you'll start to see the same people every year. You become friends with them. And absolutely, everybody is very sharing. We all want to elevate each other. We want bonsai to move forward in this country. That's very much our passion, I think, most people's passion, and particularly us here in ABS. It's our mission statement. And we're so encouraging of others, and that's one of the really nice aspects of being a part of this community. Awards are interesting. I've won several awards. It's phenomenal to win an award. But then you realize, you know, 4 days later, no one really cares. And you just go back to what we do. I have learned in the past 12 years I've been doing bonsai that it really just comes back to you and the tree, you working on your tree. Well, it's funny because a lot of people will say, well, that must be so calming for you. And I kind of used to laugh because particularly when you're new at this, it's not that calming, right? You're there like, oh, I might kill this tree. What am I doing? I don't know. You know, if I do this, is it the right thing? Blah, blah, blah. So I would never describe it as calming, but you're absolutely right, your phraseology in the moment. So it absolutely focuses you. When I'm working on my trees for hours, I'm really, even if I'm doing a pretty mundane, I'm, you know, wiring or pruning, you're still always focused on it and you're still always thinking about it. And as you do learn, if you meditate, you know, you're trying to stay right in the moment and exclude other thoughts. I think it focuses you immediately without any effort.
It's extremely difficult. You're facing having to select trees from among the best of the best, and when that happens, you've got to basically go from gut decisions to what you like as a judge, as a so-called expert in the field, to try to narrow down to the one that should get the prize that day. Given all things being equal, there probably should be more than one award because there are not a whole lot of difference between the top trees in this exhibit. You kind of have to look at the overall display to begin with. If care is taken in that, then the tree comes off looking a lot better. And then things like mossing, the cleanliness of the pot, are all secondary when you look at the tree, because you want the tree to be the main focus of the award, and the structures of the tree, branch placement, health, balance in the pot. Trees that are in this display, without a doubt, each one of them have already attained a certain amount of dignity in the bonsai creation process. And that only occurs by years and years of hard work and dedication to get them in that condition. So the trick is to find the one that looks the best that day. And this is not a contest. The art of bonsai is enjoyed 99% of the time in your backyard. Getting a tree ready for a show like this is an honor, number one. And number two, it's not done to get an award. It's done to show your work. And no matter if your tree has a ribbon or a trophy sitting next to it, it's showing off itself. The fact that one got an award and the other one didn't doesn't denigrate the quality of the tree next to it. So they're all winners, and they should all be winners.
We are very, very humbled by the response that we've received from everybody who's been at the convention. You know, you don't do things for people to say thank you, but a lot of people have been very, very grateful, and we're very humbled by that. But I have to say our volunteers have pulled this off beautifully, and I think everybody's going to go home saying we had a great time and we learned a lot. It's been shown before. It was shown 2 years ago. It was in a white pot. And I've been studying it, and I just didn't think that the white pot with the white blossoms was right. So I commissioned Paul Kadich to make me a pot this exact color, and it took him a while to get this exact color. And I got it, he finished it in February, and I got it in March, and we repotted it soon after so that it would be ready for now. Every time I look at this tree, I feel nature. I'm about to cry because it's my favorite tree. And first of all, to be able to get it to look like this for this show and then to win, that was very special. It gives more than it gets, and it gives me joy.
Talk about what bonsai has given you.
Lots of friends. When you move from a place that you've lived, gosh, your entire married life, to a place that you've never lived before, how do you make friends? Well, we made them through our church and through joining the Bonsai Club. And we have more friends than we know what to do with now. And they're lovely. They're just lovely. My therapy is watering. I mean, I love to water. And I get to see the trees every day because of that. So we find bonsai to be therapeutic in two different ways. Watering for me is like bathing a baby. You don't do it in a hurried fashion, and you have fun. When you bathe your child, it's a joyful occasion. So when I water the tree, that's what I think of. It's like I don't rush. It's a joyous occasion to water.
This journey, and it really has been a journey, I've been on about 4.5, 5 years. And at the beginning, I did what most newcomers do, meaning anything that was green and I put in a pot, I called it a bonsai. And as I grew, realized that that wasn't where I wanted to head. So this was my first good tree. The pot is on loan. It's not my pot, but it's by Jim Smith. And if you've been in bonsai any length of time, you learn about Jim Smith. God rest his soul, he passed, I guess, last year. But this pot is one of the few pots in oval that he made. And Ron loaned it to me. So not only do I have my precious tree, I have it in this precious pot.
And they say the possession is 9/10 of the law. So who owns the pot right now?
Well, I keep hoping he'll forget who I am. But I'm in the process of having a pot specially made for it. To be honest, I had a hard time thinking that I was going to buy a tree that was essentially finished. We know in bonsai that trees are never finished. But about probably 4 different people have helped me. They've helped me do some wiring on it. I've grown it myself. I've kept it up. And that's been very, very rewarding. But the owner and then the guy I bought it from, and then Adam Levine has helped me, Ron Miller has helped me. So it's really a group tree. And seeing the rest of these trees in here makes me realize how much further this needs to go. In my collection, this is an absolute A+ tree. When I look at the rest of these trees in here, it's probably a B. But it's my tree and I love it.
Here's a question I've been asking that yields some pretty interesting answers. You know you have a problem with bonsai when you...
Oh, when you lie to your husband how much you spend for them. We have a saying, most of you know, that my fear is when I die, my husband will sell my trees for what I told him I spent.
What brings people together is bonsai. It's about the tree. The key thing on bonsai is to make the tree look older, to make the small tree look older. The process that it goes through will take some time. It's not instant. You cannot do bonsai in a day. You cannot just bring the raw material, you can bring the collected material and wire it in one day and say, this is finished tree. No, that's not a finished tree. That's the beginning. And people thought that is the final process on doing bonsai. Final process, that is just the start.
Totally surprised. The John Naka Award for Native American trees. I'm a hobbyist, not the professional. Things are kind of like, I'm in a little bit of a shock. I don't know exactly what to say, but yeah, I was delightfully surprised. This is something that gives me a peace or if you want to dive into something and relax and be at rest, you know, there's nothing like working on a tree. And then to watch it grow, you know, that's why it's so important to do photography, to see when you're watching a tree, you know, year after year, you don't really see it until you see the first tree you had and the last photo you have of the tree. And it's really pretty interesting, and it gives you a lot of satisfaction. It's like raising kids.
Anyhow, the good thing for bonsai is that even though I have a second wife, but the first wife is never jealous to the second wife, because never in my life I sleep with my bonsai. Bonsai, in fact, is getting more popular in the world, and in fact, it is USA that make bonsai popular in the world, because some Japanese that live in USA, they try to promote bonsai all over the world. And now with the Chinese becoming rich, China returned back to bonsai, and that's why it's becoming very popular.
Well, from the time I was a child, I went down to Key West and all down on the Keys and everything, and I always noticed the trees because I lived in an area that you couldn't, my friends weren't close by. So I planted trees and played with animals. And guess what? I'm still doing it. I collected it about 5 years ago, and it was growing in a hole with rocks all the way around it. And it was leaning back. That's why there's no foliage on the back side of it. And all of the personality was in the one side where it went around in circles, but the reason it did that, it was trying to come up, but it was hitting rocks. And so that it would twirl around until it got its foliage going up. And we worked on that for over an hour trying to get it out, and my grandson finally got it out. So many of my original old friends have passed away now, and we miss them so much. But some of our friends we only see maybe once a year, but it never goes away. We talk about them and, you know, call each other, and it's really good friendship. We all try to we learn the basic rules, but sometimes the tree doesn't cooperate, so you have to improvise. And they really do compete with the Japanese. You know, we're on the same level, almost. They have a few more older ones. Next to family, it's the most important thing in my life.
The fact that I didn't win a prize doesn't make a bit of difference to me. It's like a huge honor to have my trees accepted. And, you know, it started off as a tiny, you know, little thing, you know, size of your thumb, and it's grown that thick in 10 years. So it looks like a much older tree than it really is. Bonsai is an art form, but there's not like one way to do things. There's like, you know, from all the way from Picasso to, you know, pointillism, and you know, trees could be anything. So it's a way of expressing what you see in the tree.
Of course, I, like all of us, started out, I am not going to buy any bonsais. 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 I am coming home with a gorgeous black pine. I've just enjoyed everything I did, the raffle and the two critiques that I've attended. And of course, if you're looking for an opinion on your plant, if you ask 3 people, you will have about 20 different opinions.
That's so true.